Hi and welcome again for yet another episode of Alumio Talks. My name Robert Odijk and with me a recurring guest on the show. That's last time. Raoul Straathoff,
Yes, thank
Katana
you.
PIM. Pleasure to have you again on another episode.
Thank you.
In our last episode we ended the conversation with a couple of trends that we see in the PIM landscape in the next future, and I'd like to dig a little bit deeper on where we left off and see how PIM systems can play a pivotal role towards those trends. Now, obviously, one of the big ones is that in 2025, January, the product information passports are coming.
Yeah.
The market is not 100% sure where it's going. The government or the governing body that is going to control is also not 100% sure. I would like to take the opportunity to ask you, what do you think is going to be some of the challenges, and where do you see a role for PIM systems regarding the product information, regarding the product passports?
Product passport. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a hot topic. It's a little bit underlighted. If you just read the news, if you read the topics online, there are not a lot of people that understand, especially people that selling products, understand what is a digital product passport. Mm-hmm. Who's going to maintain it, where does the information come from, and also who's going to govern it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of unknowns, and I think hopefully in the coming months there will be a lot more information surrounding it. One thing that we do know from the EU, it will be mandatory to keep a digital product passport if you're selling products. So you have to have that information available and ready. And that's exactly where most likely also PIM solutions are going to have a vital role in getting that information in order, get it structured. So once we know where that information is going to be managed, or at least managed or governed and checked, at least you have it available. So you need to already to start now of making sure that in your PIM solution, if you're using an ERP system, is you have all the vital information ready. So that means the country of origin, the materials, ingredients, where it's been, what shipments it got, all this kind of stuff that are important for carbon, for your footprint. Those are going to be important, and that's something that you can start already with doing at the moment. So then once it's January 1st, you're not in the stress because somebody then is ready to check it. So that's why it's important to already get busy with it.
Get started, yeah. And I think the PIM system, as you mentioned, can play a pivotal role in that, and just making sure the right stuff is stored at the right location.
Exactly.
In order to provide whatever is going to be in 2025. It seems a long time away, but actually it's only 6 months.
It's only 6 months, and it's a lot of information, and it's a lot of information that companies currently don't have. So I think the manufacturers are going to have a very important role of giving away those informations that they now do not share, because in the whole train of from manufacturer into the wholesalers, into the brands, and also the retailers, the information that is shared between those companies is oftentimes very limited. So also how we share information with our clients, product information, that's going to be very important, because if you sell to consumers, then you need all the information, and then you need the right sources from the back of the first part of the train to deliver those information. And a PIM will play a vital role, because it's actually made just to be flexible and easygoing for everybody to maintain that information in different workflows with different departments, and also distribute it to the right people.
Yeah, that makes absolutely the total sense, and I think again it's pivotal for business, especially selling to consumers, that if they haven't started, it should be on the top of their list to get working with it, because before you know it, the date is there.
Yes.
So it's good to focus on that. That was one of the things I'd like to discuss with you today. The second part that we touched on, and this is a big one, everybody's talking about it. It's a buzzword. It becomes a bit of a umbrella term, as we literally translate from the Dutch, but it's AI. There's lots of possibilities in AI. What do you see is happening within different PIM vendors and the combination of AI?
Yeah. So what you see a lot now is that people are using AI to create new content out of basic attributes or basic information. So it's basically focusing on the quantity of the content, which is fine, because I think that's where people in a whole are using AI most for, is either now creating images using the OpenAI tools, or making descriptions based on some of the attributes, just translating information.
Saves a lot of time.
It saves a lot of time. The only thing that's important there is that it does save time, but you always need the manual eye or the person's eye to double check to see if it's in the right tone of voice, if the context that was translated, if it's still the right thing. And that's also the trend that you see in PIM. So what you see in PIM as well is that a lot of tools that came on the market within the PIM solutions are built on the quantity of the content. Mm-hmm. So translating, creating content, product descriptions, and stuff like that. And that's the first trend that you see in a lot.
Raoul, we talked a little bit about all the within PIM and AI regarding the product and the product information and enriching and translating, but an important part of this is also the images and the generation of images. What role do you see AI playing there and the potential of it with generating images, for instance?
Yeah, very good. So what you see now is that there's already tools that are reading images based on, hey, what kind of image is it? So is it, let's say, a product image? Is it maybe an image with people in it? So they can read out the images basically on some attributes as well. So hey, what kind of color is it? Is it a handbag or is it a suitcase? And it's reading already the images, and it can already extract and already create some attributes of the products into the PIM. So those are already tools, AI, that are reading the images like that.
What type of attributes do you reckon they can do? Material, color,
yeah,
size?
Yeah, and it's going a lot further as well, because also with some of the tools you can just say, hey, give me a shoe that's useful for a night event, or give me a
fashion
image.
Advice.
Fashion advice, exactly. And I think also that's on the e-commerce side. I think that's also the questions we are going to ask a lot more. Instead of we're looking for a red dress, I'm not going to look for a red dress, but you're looking for a red dress. You just put that in, and then based on the images, you're getting that response back. So those learning models are already giving you the right responses back on whatever question you do. Because now what Google does, of course, is just looks at the descriptions and the already information that's put in. But now AI is just taking a lot more attributes from the images, like if there's laughing people on the image, for instance. And so there's a lot of possibilities of reading images. And I think what we're going to see in the future is also creating the images. You already saw a LinkedIn full with created images from the ChatGPTs. Mm-hmm. But now what you see trends, and that's new tools coming onto the market, is, for instance, you can create just a product image and you can just place it on 15 different models or put it in different backgrounds and stuff like that. So that will also save a lot of time, but also a lot of money, of course, on expensive photo shoots and stuff like that. So I think there is also a big gain to be made for a lot of companies.
Yeah, very, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting stuff that the future is bringing, and I think, as you mentioned, that will save so much time, and you don't need to get all the expensive studio time and the models
exactly
in order to get your products placed in the way that you want it to be placed.
Yeah.
So very interesting. Thank you very much for clarifying that.
Yes, no worries.
All right, and if we dig a little bit deeper, what do you see happening more? Because it's involved, AI is still at the very forefront. Everybody feels in the industry the potential is huge. We all feel it, but it's hard to sometimes get an actual example and see what you mentioned a few already, like adding product information, translating product information, generating images. Where is it going to end?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I like to listen to experts. I think so. One of the things that we had a conversation with somebody, and he said, okay, whatever you think in 10 years is possible with AI, mm-hmm. just have that. It's probably going to be in 5 years. So what it's going to be, that's going to be that's going to be a mystery. What you see now in the short term is that the first thing that we now do with AI is taking away the repetitive process mm-hmm. of course, and the translations, creating descriptions and stuff like that. So that's the repetitive work, just creating that content. That's now being done by AI. What we are doing as the human part of it is giving the commands. Hey, create a text out of this, create a text out of that. And then checking the quality. And I think the quality factor, that's going to be the biggest thing that we're going to see in the next 1-2 years, is where AI will develop in making sure the quality of whatever is created mm-hmm. is being done. There's basically the repetitive process of what is created and then checking if that's good. That's also going to be automated because we are going to be smarter. The AI tools, the agents are going to be smarter. So I think every time we're going to take a step down, and the AI is going to take over a repetitive process that we want. and where that's going to end, that's very hard to say. But
if I have to ask you, if you could wave a magic wand, that would be amazing if that can happen in the future. What will be one or two things that you would like to see happening in the future with AI?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Very, how to say? I'm very open about it. So I've really given a good thought on where it might end. But I just see a science fiction movie where we as people are not doing anything anymore, and AI is basically taking care of everything, and life is just a lot easier. But yeah, if that's realistic or not, I don't know. But for me, it feels like it could go in that route. But that's why I feel like, and that's maybe the bridge also to where we are right now, that's why I think it's so important that we teach our AI tools, focus on the quality of what we are creating. And I think if we're sharp on that, I think then the next phase will also be a lot easier.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right, because that's what we need to do. You need to educate the machine in order to generate better quality down the line. So that's key, and it's worth for businesses today to invest already in exploring this technology and see the potential for this doing. If I can make the bridge then towards you and you guys at Katana PIM, are you already utilizing AI and Katana PIM solution together? And if so, what are you researching? What are you doing at the moment? Yeah,
so one of the things together also with Alumio, we have an OpenAI integration. So also to building the right commands to have your product information in Katana PIM, and then using the OpenAI tool or the ChatGPT tool to actually also getting extra information back. So that quantity factor, of course, is also available within Katana PIM. Next phase for us, and also what we're researching, is how can we use Katana PIM to make sure the quality is very important, because we feel like the quality is very important, but also your tone of voice. That's going to be major, because what you see is that creating content that's nice, but people are not buying what you sell, but they're buying why you sell it and who you are. And I think that element is now underlighted a lot because of how easy it is to generate content. But as long as we're going to focus on make sure the quality is good, but also the tone of voice is good, I think brands will be, or sellers will be a lot more successful in selling their product to the audience, instead of just putting out as many content as they want. So I think that's going to be our focus as well, to making sure we use AI to support the people who are actually working on the product content, so they have more time to actually build on their quality or their tone of voice and stuff like that.
So so the people that are actually working on the product content should not be afraid for their job, getting replaced by AI. If anything, they should embrace it and focus on getting better output, creating better quality, and effectively managing their time.
Yeah, that's the famous quote is your job is AI is not gonna take over your job, but somebody who's using AI is. And I think that's that's the famous quote that's very much in play there.
Absolutely right. I think you have shared a lot of insights already today regarding the possibilities. I think there's more and more to come that we don't know today. Look back 5 years ago. Nobody was doing anything with AI. Look where we are today. Everybody is doing something in one way or another with AI. So maybe it's a great idea we invite you again in a year or 2 years' time, reflect back on what we have said today.
Sounds like a plan.
And then see where the technology has brought us by then. For now, I'd love to thank you for joining us in this episode of Alumio Talks. That's also where we're gonna end this podcast. If you have any questions regarding these topics, please leave a message here below in the link. And thank you for watching.